Once in the middle of a scorching desert, there lived a weak little sparrow. The heat in the desert was unbearable, the sand was burning, and life in that barren land was almost impossible. The sparrow's feathers had fallen off. Her wings had no strength, and she could not fly anymore. Every day she searched for food and water, but found nothing. Her days were filled with loneliness, her nights with fear, and sometimes she thought, "Why has God kept me alive if there is only pain in my life?" One afternoon, while she sat weakly under the little shade of a rock, she saw a figure walking slowly in the distance. As he came closer, she realized it was a young man. He looked tired from his journey, but peaceful in his steps. Gathering her strength, the sparrow called out in a trembling voice, "Oh, wise one, where are you going?" The young man stopped and walked toward her. His eyes softened when he saw the poor bird. His heart melted at the sight of her suffering. The young man smiled gently. He said, "I am going to meet my master. He lives on the other side of this desert. He is a man of great wisdom. But tell me, what are you doing here, and how have you reached such a miserable condition?" Thus, Sparrow replied in a sad voice, "I am suffering a lot because of my fate. My life has become unbearable. I am weak. I cannot fly. I have no food, no water, and no home. Please tell me, when will my suffering end?" The young man paused for a moment and then said softly, "On my way back, I will tell you what he says." The sparrow lowered her head and whispered, "I will wait for you." And so the young man continued his journey across the desert. When he reached his master's cottage, he bowed down and told him everything. "My master," he said on the way, "I met a sparrow who is living in great misery. She asked me to find out when her pain will end. Can you please tell me the answer?" The young master closed his eyes. Silence filled the heart. After some time, he opened his eyes and said, "10 more years of suffering are written in her life." The disciple's heart sank. 10 years, master. If I tell her this, she will break completely. She has no strength left to endure even 10 more days. Then how can she bear 10 more years? The master placed a hand on his disciple's shoulder and said calmly, "Yes, such is her fate, but there is one way. Tell her that in every situation, whether she's hungry, thirsty, weak, or lonely, she must thank God with her heart. Gratitude will protect her from sinking deeper into sorrow." On his way back, the young man found the sparrow waiting anxiously for him. Seeing him, her eyes lit up and she said, "Oh, my friend, what did your master say about me?" The disciple hesitated, but then he spoke slowly. "He said that you have 10 more years of suffering ahead." The sparrow froze, her tiny body trembled, and her eyes filled with tears. 10 more years. I cannot live even 10 more days like this. The disciple knelt beside her and gently said, "Do not lose hope, little sparrow. My master also gave away. He said, 'Whatever happens in every situation, thank God with all your heart. Say it sincerely, thanks Almighty for everything.'" The sparrow was silent for a while. Then she whispered, "I don't understand how this can help me, but I will try." From that day, she began to be thankful in every situation. When she felt weak on the burning scent, she whispered, "Thank Almighty for everything. Thank you even for this hot sand." When her throat ran with thirst and there was no water to drink, she said, "Thanks Almighty for everything." When her feathers dropped and her body ached, she still repeated, "Thank you, Almighty, for everything." Days passed. Slowly, something began to change. Slowly, the sparrow's feathers started to grow again. She felt new energy in her wings. One day, the sky filled with dark clouds. Strong wind blew, and soon heavy rain poured down. The desert bloomed with green plants. Water collected in one place and formed a pond. The sparrow drank water, ate seeds, and felt as if life was returning to her body. She spread her wings, and to her joy, she could fly again. rushed back to his master and said, "Master, master, you told me that she had 10 more years of suffering, but in just a few weeks her life has changed completely. How is this possible?" The master smiled gently and said, "Yes, 10 years of sorrow were written in her destiny, but he changed her destiny." When one truly says, "Thanks Almighty for everything," with a pure heart, the story of the sparrow and the young man is a mirror of our own lives. Each one of us goes through phases when everything feels dry, empty, and hopeless. Just like the barren desert, we may lose our strength, our confidence, or even our will to keep going. In such times, like the sparrow, we often ask, "Why me?"